Expats and investments leave Shanghai. Hong Kong private equity chief says China in a deep crisis. Financial trouble for China's local governments. More than 1,000 flights canceled in Guangzhou. Harder lockdown measures reported. Hello and welcome to Sound of Hope News. I'm Liam O'Neill and today is April 30th. Many foreigners living in Shanghai have had enough of the controversial zero-COVID policy. The city may be at the beginning of an expat exodus. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce recently reported that most American companies in China have essentially frozen investment plans for the rest of 2022. A survey from mid-April by a local media outlet, That's Shanghai, targeted expatriates. 85% of the almost 1,000 foreign residents in Shanghai said they were considering leaving China due to the lockdown. 22% want to leave as soon as possible, 26% within the next 12 months. On Tuesday, April 26th, a widely circulated video showed a French man trying to break through metal barriers before being dragged to the ground by 4 people in hazmat suits. In Chinese, English, and French, he shouted, "I'm going to die." One of the people holding him down responded, "You came to China. You need to respect the laws and regulations here." A survey by the American Chamber of Commerce last month concluded that more than 80% of companies with international workforces reported that China's pandemic policies had affected their ability to attract or retain foreign staff. According to Reuters, the exodus of expats in Shanghai is damaging the financial and industrial center of China, reversing what had been an expanding foreign presence. Once this lockdown is over, expats all across all industries will negotiate a new career outside of China, said Jason Tan, a Shanghai-based director at the Reforce Group. He also said, "It's not very attractive moving forward. This lockdown can happen again. Next time, it might be longer and tighter." According to the Financial Times, one of Asia's largest private equity investors, Shan Wei-jian, has also said that the COVID policies are creating a deep economic crisis that will be felt internationally. Mr. Shan manages more than $50 billion of Hong Kong-based private equity funds. He recently said in a video that his funds are moving away from China. He said, quote, "The Chinese economy is in the worst shape it has been in the last 30 years, and so too is the discontent of the Chinese people. Much of the Chinese economy, including the financial center of Shanghai, has been semi-paralyzed by a draconian zero epidemic policy, and the impact on the economy will be far-reaching." Some international investors believe that Xi's shared prosperity policy increases the risk of government intervention in the private sector, thus declaring China uninvestable. Currently, 343 million Chinese across 46 cities in mainland China are under full or partial lockdown. For more than a decade, local governments throughout China have been increasingly deriving financial resources from land leases. In 2021, the land lease revenues peaked at an average of 41.5% of local government fiscal revenue. 12 cities across the country were fully 100% dependent on land leases. This spells trouble for city and provincial governments. According to data released recently by the Ministry of Finance, revenue from land leases decreased 27.4%, leaving local government budgets down approximately 26.5% on average. Guangdong, Anhui, Tianjin, Guangxi, Hubei, and Hunan, that was a list of both cities and provinces, all lost revenue in the first quarter by between 75 and 95%. This is according to data from Minsheng Securities. This screenshot from social media platform Douyin shows that only Beijing does not have falling land lease revenue. Shanghai's is down 94.44%. According to the official data of the CCP, in the first quarter of 2022, the growth rate of domestic consumption tax revenue dropped from 18.7% in January and February to 8.6% in March. The growth rate of value-added tax revenue also turned negative, and personal income tax revenue fell by more than 50% on year. On the morning of April 28th, Guangzhou Baiyun Airport issued a notice saying abnormal nucleic acid tests of airport employees were reported the previous day on the 27th. As a result, Baiyun Airport will need to adjust some domestic passenger flight plans. As of 12 noon on the 28th, 1,120 inbound and outbound flights were canceled. In the early morning of the 28th, travel outside of the entire Baiyun district was forbidden. This included travel by train as well. Several nearby districts initiated surprise measures, including more testing. Netizens expressed frustration. Reports taken from social media indicate that lockdown measures may be expanding. This notice is allegedly from city officials of Tangshan in Hebei province. Residents there are ordered to hand over house keys to the Neighborhood Watch Committee. These are watchdog groups made up of community volunteers and members of the CCP. If a door has a fingerprint or combination lock, the neighborhood committee will weld steel bars across the door, the notice said. And if you refuse to submit your key, the community will also weld the door shut. Similar news also came out of Qian'an, a county-level city in Tangshan. Barbed wire and electric fencing has been used in Shanghai to enforce lockdowns. In one video, an elderly woman speaking in Shanghaise is confused by the barbed wire. She says, "But how can the government take such a measure? What does it mean? I don't understand." In another video, a man protests the installation of wire mesh, saying, "You're not right. You're electrocuting us. You're treating us like it's a concentration camp. Hitler penned up the Jews like this. What kind of a world is this?" That's all we have for today at Sound of Hope. Please click like and subscribe for more daily news briefs from China.